Welcome. You chose this practice because you were looking for digestive relief. So let's get right into that. This is going to be some gentle movement to compress, massage your lower belly, and then we'll end with a massage with the blanket. Please stay tuned for that. That is a really unique sensation. So grab your blanket, and when you're ready, meet me down on the floor. So as you arrive lying on your back, let both of your feet be on the floor to start. You may want to place one or both of your hands over your lower belly. Maybe there's pressure or discomfort there. Don't force your breath, allow it to be soft. And then one at a time, draw your knees in toward the chest. As soon as you do that, you'll notice there's a little bit of compression of your thighs against your belly. That compression can help us to stimulate things digestive wise. You may have seen this move before, or if you did my first digestive video, you'll probably have seen it there. But we'll try to start really gently. So you can see I'm taking a little bit of gentle movement. You can have your hands on the tops of your knees. Your knees can be closer together or wider apart. And start to pair this movement with your breath, breathing in. As you exhale, letting your knees come a little closer to your body, just beginning to explore that feeling of compression, a little bit of dynamic movement, because we want to stimulate the digestive area so that our body's natural functioning improves. A few more times like this, breathing in as your knees move away, exhale as you release the air and gentle contraction of the belly. Okay, and then you can keep your right knee in toward your chest and release the left foot back down. Take the movement here a few times. Same thing, breathing in, knee comes a little further away. Exhale, bring the knee in closer. Perhaps with one leg, you're able to tolerate a little bit more sensation as the knee comes in. So some of this work might actually feel a little unpleasant. Never want it to be painful. If the intensity of this video is too much, definitely go back to my part 1 digestive video. I'll make sure to link to that in the description. All right, let's do one more, this time holding in for a moment. And then we're going to hold the right knee with the left hand, reach the right arm straight overhead, and left knee will come back up to the tabletop position. This is a version of bird dog pose that also helps to strengthen our abdominals. On your breath in, let your leg travel toward straight, your arm travel toward the back, keeping your center pretty stable. And on your exhale, come back in. So you decide the pace here. And you decide to what extent to reach the arm, to what extent to reach the leg. You can keep both the arm and the leg higher. And let's do one more. Holding here for a moment if you like, feeling perhaps a little bit of intensity build in the abdominal area. The abdominals are engaged to hold us here. And then exhale and release. Perhaps a few rocking moves before we go to the other side. Notice what you're experiencing so far. We want to notice the effect of our efforts and what's happening in our bodies. Okay, other side. So this time the right knee comes down, foot comes to the floor, and we hold with the left for a moment and do our in and out breath here. So inhale as the knee moves away. Exhale as the knee moves back toward your body. A few times like that. And again, perhaps you notice on the one side, maybe you're able to draw the knee in a little closer. But we're only going within our own tolerable range. Next time the left knee comes in, hold it in with one or both hands to start. And then continue to hold with your right hand as your left hand goes straight toward the sky. Right leg comes back up to tabletop position. Take a moment to feel stable in the center. And then we'll practice our bird dog variation or our dead bug variation on this side 5 or 6 times, breathing in as you reach the arm and the leg away, exhaling as you bring back to center. Feel free to adjust. You'll find the greatest benefit of your yoga practice when you customize it to what your body needs. And I can't tell you that. I can only offer suggestions. I can share how it feels in my body. And then let's do one more. Inhale to center. Exhale, release or reach, hold, and then to center and release. You might want some last bit of movement while we're here lying. And then you can roll to your side and we're going to transition to a kneeling position. We're here in tabletop position. We're going to do a variation on cat and cow pose. You don't need the blanket, but if you'd like it underneath your knees, feel free to have that. We won't use it yet. So find your cow pose. Let everything in your front release. You can tip your head up a little bit as your tailbone tips up, chest moves forward. And then tuck your tail as we round. We're going to do kind of a crouching cat, sending the hips back toward the heels, not coming all the way into child's pose, but looking for the place where, again, we can feel a little bit of compression on the abdominals. You might exhale there. Inhale, slide back forward. Find your cow pose stretch. This is a release. And then we're drawing in the abdominals with some contraction as we slide the hips back and see if we can find some compression of the thighs on the belly. Again, slide forward, release into your cow pose. Round, especially the lower body rounding, send the hips back toward the heels. Bow so that your chest comes closer to the ground, but really your thighs allow for some abdominal compression. Let's do 2 more. Last one. And then return to tabletop. We're going to look for a little stretch and openness on the side body. So slide both of your feet toward the right, and then we'll walk the hands toward the right, kind of in the front diagonal. As you walk, you might start noticing the stretch on the opposite side, on the left side. You can adjust that by walking your left hand out a little bit further, maybe sending your hips back and left. You'll probably feel some stretch here in the sides, around the ribs, hopefully also down to the area of the abdominal cavity. And you could move this around any way you like to find that right dosage of stretch for your body. I'm leaning quite a bit to the left as I stretch my feet and my hands toward the right. And then come in through center. We'll move to the second side. So slide both feet off a little bit to the left. They might come off your mat. Start to walk your hands left any amount. And your hands and feet are both little levers that you can adjust. I'm reaching out a little bit more with my right hand and then thinking about sending my right hip back to the opposite diagonal. Maybe moving around a little bit here, trying to find where I can feel that perfect sensation of gentle tug on my right side. One more breath. And come back through center. And we'll come into a kneeling twist pose. We'll step the right foot forward first, and we're coming up to upright kneeling, our upright lunge. As you come upright, adjust your feet so that you feel fairly stable from left to right. It doesn't have to be a long lunge. Place your front foot the distance that it feels comfortable. Before we move into our twist, we want to make sure that we can feel the side being open, that we're breathing in tall, almost like the in-breath is lifting us off the area of our lower abdominal. So we're creating space, and then we're going to invite in some compression with our twist. Take an in-breath here. As you exhale, start to rotate around from the belly button up through your mid-back, upper back, and shoulders. I'm going to keep my head turned toward you. You can turn it more if you'd like. My hands just naturally came around to the outside of my thigh to help me stabilize here in this simple twist. And then we'll stay and breathe. And you might see I'm wobbling a little bit. I could slide my right foot a little bit more to the outer edge of my mat to create a wider base, more stability. So I can feel that twisting sensation around the center of my lower body in addition to upper body. For me, it feels good. What's it like for you? I'd love to hear in the comments how you're experiencing this. If so far it's helping you with your belly. All right, one more breath. Remember, even as we're twisting, we still want to breathe in tall. We'll feel that bit of compression on the exhale. And then we'll spin back around to front and find side two. When you're ready, place your left foot in front. Again, take time to adjust on this side. Make sure that this side feels stable. And that might mean widening your foot more out to the side. That's completely acceptable and allowed. Start center, take a breath in to prepare, feeling tall in your body, rooting with your lower body as you lift with the upper. And then on your next exhale, begin to turn left. This time I'll be faced away from you. Hands can come down over the side of your thigh to help hold you in place. So I'm not tugging with my hands. I'm simply letting them help me with balance. And I'm keeping my head fairly centered on my chest. You might turn more into the twist. You can also turn your head back in the opposite direction, depending on how that feels on your neck. Our focus here is on the center of the body, the torso, breathing in, finding space around the center. Exhaling, feeling a little bit of gentle compression as we wind around ourselves, as we twist into our body. And you'll probably feel the compression of your stomach coming toward your thigh here also. Let's take one more in breath. And then exhale back around to front and release. You can come down to a seated position. Okay, so here is where we're going to use the blanket. Now, in my previous digestive video, we did a belly massage without using any props. If this is too intense or you just don't like it, go back to that video and try that massage. For this video, we'll use the blanket, and I'll show you a more gentle way to use the blanket and a more intense way to use the blanket. So take your blanket and open it up so it's in kind of this large rectangle shape. We're going to tri-fold it or accordion fold. So flip about a third in one direction, third in the other direction, and then stretch the blanket long ways in front of you on your mat. Now, if this version I show you, this is the more intense version I'm starting with, doesn't work, you'll have the blanket horizontal and it'll be right across your hip bones. I'll show you that as well. If you're doing this version, we're actually going to take the end of the blanket nearest to us and curl it a little bit. This is going to go between our hip points for some of that compression pressure. So the amount that you curl the blanket will also affect how intense this is. We'll lie down, and then I'm placing this blanket really underneath my belly button, right at the lower abdominals, in between my hip points. I can feel this. Now, I've done this before, so it's a little uncomfortable, but not so uncomfortable that I want to stop. It also sort of feels good, like I'm getting a little stretch. If it's too much for you, come off it right away. And it goes without saying, you don't want to do this if you've just eaten. The other option is to turn the blanket horizontally. And again, it's going to lie across your lower belly, across your hip bones. As you come down here, propping yourself up into a cobra pose, you'll notice there's a lot less pressure. And you might simply be able to rest here, perhaps staying propped up, or perhaps coming all the way down and doing this as a passive release. If you're okay continuing the self-massage with me, put my blanket up a little bit, go back to my little part. It goes right in the lower abs. And so I'm propped up on my elbows because this also can adjust the intensity for me. If I push more into my arms and lift off of the blanket, that might give me more or less sensation. If I come down so that I'm closer, maybe resting my head, again, maybe more or less sensation for you. Try it out. See if you can find the spot that feels like Goldilocks, that feels like the right amount. And then we'll move a little bit. Hips from side to side. Perhaps you hear your digestive juices firing up. Mine are certainly going. Now, again, we don't want to do this if our stomach is completely full. That is not going to feel good. But if it's a while since you've eaten and you're still uncomfortable, or you're having issues with bloating or constipation, this can be a useful practice as healthy massage of the lower abdominal area. You might find that after a little bit of movement, you want to adjust the blanket. If there's a different spot that feels like it needs your attention, go ahead and adjust. Keep breathing, right? That's always important, especially letting the exhales come out in a long, slow sigh. All right, last few moments here. And very gently start to lift yourself off the blanket. You might want to have your torso elongated for a moment, either kneeling or seated. We want to finish our time with some time in relaxation to let everything come to rest. I'm going to show you two options of how you can relax and release with the blanket. The first is to keep this blanket in this tri-fold. Instead, I'm going to roll the opposite side. That's going to be a little pillow for my head, so that when I come down to the blanket comes all the way to the base of my spine. Find this little head pillow. This is wonderful. It gives a little support for the spine. It allows the belly to stretch out and release. You can have knees bent, you can have legs stretched out, have feet in a butterfly position. You can also come into a constructive rest with the knees resting against each other. Oh, that feels lovely. Even less work for the body. So if you are finding that this is a place where you feel comfortable and relaxed, stay right here. The other option is to take the blanket under your hips in a supported bridge. So I will show that option to finish. You'll lie back over it and take the blanket so it's supporting you right under your sacrum. So that part at the bottom of your spine. Again, knees can be bent or you can stretch your legs out, whatever you prefer. You might also come into that constructive rest here with the knees knocking together, letting all the parts we compressed and worked be at rest and released. Stay here as long as you would like. 5 to 10 minutes is ideal. I'd love to hear how this practice was for you. Please comment, maybe leave me a thumbs up or a heart if it was helpful and useful, or any questions you have for me about this, drop them down below.